What if the destiny of the next Lakers dynasty isn't written solely on the hardwood, but in those unseen moments of timing and bold moves whispered behind closed doors? What if the true game changer isn't just talent, but the chess match of front office maneuvers when the world thinks you're asleep and suddenly you strike? Welcome back to Lakers News Fan Report, where raw truth meets purple and gold passion. Smash that like button, hit subscribe, and ring the bell so you never miss a second of this drama. Now, settle in, because what just went down with the Lakers is nothing short of seismic, a move that no one really saw coming and yet suddenly rewrites what this roster could be capable of. For months, Marcus Smart and the Lakers were just fading rumors, whispers that seemed to drift farther away as the Wizards refused to buy him out, locking down that contract and leaving any Lakers dream of his gritty defense to drift into fantasy land. But then, faster than a fast break, barely 30 seconds ago, the impossible happened. The Wizards agreed to a buyout, and Marcus Smart is now a Los Angeles Laker on a 2-year, $11 million deal, ready to bring his ferocious point of attack defense back to the spotlight. And let me tell you, this isn't just a signing, it's a heist. No assets lost, no high price paid, just a straight-up steal that instantly answers a glaring weakness. Rob Pelinka, the man so often maligned for playing it safe or worse, being asleep when the Lakers needed to pounce, just pulled off one of the boldest, smartest moves we've seen in years. It's the kind of move that forces you to rethink everything you thought you knew about how this team would evolve. The Lakers desperately needed a defensive anchor on the perimeter, a warrior who could take on the toughest guards. And Marcus Smart doesn't just fit that description, he is that description embodied. Remember, this is a former Defensive Player of the Year, a 3-time All-Defensive First-Team guard whose name hops off the page, not because of flashy stats, but because of the relentless, heart-on-sleeve leadership that doesn't show up on a box score. Marcus Smart isn't just an insurance policy. He's a catalyst, one who brings that fiery, winning attitude, that fire this team has desperately craved since some of those championship runs started flickering. Now consider the irony: the last time the Lakers landed a former Celtic known for that kind of tenacity, we got Rajon Rondo, whose clutch performances helped bring a championship home. Could history be echoing, and we're on the verge of reliving that magic, but this time with a slightly grittier, more battle-tested warrior? This deal doesn't just fill a roster hole. It changes the narrative. It shifts the internal dialogue from rebuild to go for it. Because with LeBron James commanding the arena and Luka Doncic shaping the future, you can't afford to stand pat. You have to bring in guys who want to fight, who want to bleed for purple and gold glory, not some hollow promise of rebuilding. Marcus Smart is exactly that guy. Early 30s, veteran toughness, a disruptor on defense who makes winning contagious. Sure, you lose Dorian Finney-Smith's length and energy on the wing, but what you gain in armored backcourt defense arguably equals out, if not trumps, that loss. As Smart covers ground with intelligence and toughness few can match. And the beauty of this, the Lakers didn't have to trade away precious draft picks or young assets. No second-round blips thrown away, no role players exchanged. Just a Smart buyout and a contract that fits their financial timeline like a glove, leaving the luxury to make more moves if Rob Pelinka still wants to pull triggers later this summer. Players like Shake Milton could still be moving. There are expiring contracts to juggle, first-round picks still in hand, and even Dalton Holmes lurking as a potential piece. The door is never closed, but question one remains: how much better does Marcus Smart make the Lakers' defense, and how long until he is a nightly rhythm changer? Looking back at Smart's recent years, the dips in offense with Washington, often blamed on injuries and role changes, but consider his last full seasons with Boston and Memphis, where he averaged nearly 15 points per game while terrorizing opponents on defense. He's still got it. The three-point shot remains a wild card. His ability to stretch the floor will be tested, but that defensive intensity, untouchable. And this isn't just about what he's done before, it's about what he brings now: a veteran voice, a physical presence, and a mindset that screams championship urgency. Add to that the fact that Luka Doncic personally reached out to Marcus, recruiting him to LA. That's not corporate, that's passion. That's a team striving for chemistry and grit. In the same breath, Rob Pelinka is clearly dialing in on Doncic's vision, layering the roster around his playmaking brilliance with defenders who can match LeBron's and Doncic's intensity. For all the talk of player options, yes, Pelinka loves those non-guaranteed deals, and yes, Smart's contract includes one, meaning this is a tactical lay of the land for 2026 free agents, and there's confidence this veteran will be around to lead this team through a critical window without breaking the bank or blocking flexibility. And as the salary cap breathes easier, the Lakers gain room to maneuver in what might still be a frenetic offseason, one where the right pieces might still fall. This signing also sends a message to the locker room and the league. LA means business. When you stack up the roster, the starting five remains intact, a powerhouse poised to strike, but the bench, that's where Marcus Smart's impact could be exponential, stepping in as a six-man, logging 30 minutes, adapting to matchups, playing alongside Austin Reeves and Luka with the kind of physicality and defensive IQ that can transform late-game situations. Can he start? Maybe, depending on how the chemistry unfolds. But his ability to guard multiple positions with length and speed means he's not just a patch. He's a new weapon. The Lakers had wrestled with potential targets like Gary Payton II and Anthony Melton, but Smart outshines them defensively, making this no ordinary move. It's a defensive coup de grace. And beyond stats and matchups, think about the intangibles. For a second, a hungry former Celtic who watched his old team win a championship without him. That chip on his shoulder could crystallize into unrelenting drive to bring that very same glory to LA, a veteran presence capable of mentoring the next generation, including Bronny James, who watched Smart's rise and can learn from that relentless competitive spirit. Embodies what this team craves, a fusion of old-school grit and modern star power. Yet even as we celebrate this steal, the bench scoring problem remains a challenge. Will Smart's offense be enough to lift the second unit? Can they coax more from youngsters like Jake LaRavia, or give Bronny a consistent shot? These questions linger as the Lakers try to balance star minutes with depth that can carry a playoff run through the brutal grind ahead. And then there's the unspoken weight, the pressure on Rob Pelinka, the constant balancing act between cap space, immediate contention, and long-term roster construction. This move fits neatly into that puzzle, but will it be enough? As a lifelong Lakers fan who's lived through the euphoric highs and soul-crushing lows, who's seen dynasties built and dismantled, who's felt every heartbreak and every parade, Marcus Smart signing feels like lightning in a bottle, a bold, gritty maneuver that might just be the spark the purple and gold need as they stare down a season with everything on the line. But the real question remains, will this be the start of a new empire, forged in defense and determination? Or is this the beginning of our unraveling? A final gamble that either crowns us champions or leaves us haunted by what could have been? Drop your take in the comments. I'll be reading everyone. Listen up, Lakers fans, this isn't just another roster update you scroll past on Twitter or forget by the next game day. This move with Marcus Smart, it's a thunderclap echoing through every corner of the Staples Center. A wake-up call that this team is not done fighting, not even close. And if you think about LeBron James, a man who's been carrying this franchise like Atlas for what feels like an eternity, this signing is more than just a new jersey number. It's a lifeline, a glaring spotlight on the urgency of his legacy. Because let's be honest, LeBron's clock is ticking faster every season, and the window to stack up rings in purple and gold is closing tighter than ever. When you have a warrior like Smart slamming on defense next to Anthony Davis, you're not just dealing with a tactical upgrade, you're fundamentally changing the team's DNA. AD has had his moments of brilliance, but also the nightmare of those frustrating defensive lapses that turn games into must-win nightmares. Smart, with his bone-crushing steals and maddening perimeter lockdown, gives AD the breathing room he's needed, the cover to unleash that freakishly elite offense that turns the paint into a fortress. And let's not gloss over the impact on Austin Reeves, a young man carrying the hopes of the next generation, trying to carve out his own Lakers legend. Smart's presence means fewer minutes wasted, less scrambling, and a veteran mentor lighting the path through the chaotic ebbs and flows of an NBA season. We've all seen the Lakers grind through those shaky bench rotations, asking Reeves and others to do too much onto Lil, and it's bled through to chemistry and confidence. Now imagine that pressure easing, replaced by a Smart, battle-hardened voice commanding the second unit. And what about Bronny? Here's the story that's still underground, but comes straight from the streets, having a champion's mentality. Embodied in Smart around practices and games is like a masterclass for young LeBron Jr. This isn't just an NBA signing, it's a generational handoff, a torch passed in the language of heart, hustle, and never say die competitiveness. But there's an elephant in the room that can't be ignored: the sheer scale of front office tension. Looming over this victory, Jeannie Buss remains the guardian of the Lakers' empire, but whispers of billionaires circling, ready to disrupt the very balance of power in LA sports, cast a shadow over this moment. What happens if a new owner arrives with a vision that upends everything Rob Pelinka has been painstakingly assembling? What if this shakeup means the Lakers' hard-fought progress winds up collateral damage? In a richer man's game of brand and buzz, we know the score of the 1980s Showtime Lakers were built under glitzy ownership, but thrive on strategic genius. The 2000s three-peat came from a lethal fusion of Kobe, Shaq, and savvy front office moves, and the 2020 bubble championship, won under the darkest storm, was a testament to resilience and pure heart. Each era had its drama, its uphill battles. What if this chapter delivers the greatest off-court cliffhanger yet? Will Pelinka's savvy and Jeannie's stewardship be enough to fend off the Sharks, circling to claim Lakers history as their own? Meanwhile, the ripple effect of Smart joining the purple and gold is already shaking the West's foundation. The Warriors, still clutching their faded dynasty hopes, look at the Lakers and see a team no longer content with middling playoffs. Denver, sizzling with youth and talent, will now have to reckon with a Lakers squad suddenly crisper on defense and deeper at key guard positions. Phoenix and the Clippers, perennially ready to pounce on chaos, must scramble to redefine their own blueprints lest they get swallowed by a Lakers team recalibrated for disruption. And you better believe every one of those franchise flags is watching, waiting to respond, to fire back with their own blockbuster signings or trade coups. The Lakers haven't just flipped a switch, they potentially shaken the entire conference, forcing a new kind of rivalry frenzy, a new urgency that could ignite the fiery battles that define championship seasons. I want you to picture the scene down at the Crypto.com arena. The noise swelling as Smart makes his first game appearance. The crowd roaring not just for LeBron or AD, but for the grittiness, the no-quit mentality that Smart embodies. This is Lakers basketball reborn through blood, sweat, and a cold-knuckle grip on competitiveness. But now imagine the weight on Pelinka's shoulders, because the fans' expectations are crusted with both hope and a hard-earned skepticism. There have been too many summers of almost and too many moments when the Lakers looked like a paper tiger ready to crumble under pressure. Will this move be the lightning strike that electrifies a championship run? Or will it be one step in a carousel of desperation signings? What if Smart's shot doesn't fall enough when the playoffs tighten? What if the chemistry hits a wall? The basketball gods love drama, and nothing in Lakers history says this ride won't have its share of heartbreaks before glory. The late 80s fighting through Magic's injuries, the 2000 for heartbreak that shattered Kobe's dream of dynasty, or the tortured years post-2020 where injury and roster missteps pushed us into rebuilding purgatory. This isn't just a signing, it's a gamble that cuts to the core of our shared Lakers soul. But here's the wildest part: despite the fire, the urgency, and the legacy stakes resting on this move, the saga is only beginning. The basketball gods always demand more, and the pressure cooker that is LA guarantees that no one, not even Marcus Smart, is safe from scrutiny. Can Rob Pelinka continue reading the signs better than the Wolves in the West? Can LeBron, at 39, elevate his play alongside this new defensive linchpin? Will AD harness this newfound support and silence the doubters? The answers hang in the air like a buzzer-beater shot no one can predict. As a Laker till the day I die, here's what I see coming: a season that will burn brighter, fiercer, and more chaotic than anything we've seen since the Kobe Shaq era, where every game feels like a statement, every possession a war, and every trade rumor a heartbeat skipped. Now, I want to hear it from you. Drop your raw take below, every true believer in purple and gold. Are we on the edge of a new empire, or staring down another unraveling? This is our moment to scream, hope, and rally like never before, because this is Lakers basketball, where legends are born from storms, and the only certainty is electric, unrelenting drama.